Man, I was so on point with everything I said about 5.0 in all of my previous videos because Gameforge just confirmed everything that I said today in this letter from PD post. I think this is an open letter from Nick to the community, and basically everything that I wrote in my replies to your comments, guys, everything that I said in my videos is exactly what this guy is saying here. And actually, this is my exact wording as well. I was so happy to see this. Update 5.0 is going to greatly change the game experience. This is one of the biggest things I kept saying to you guys as well, because that is the truth. And in this video, I'm gonna cover some of the topics that you guys have been worried about, some of the things that you guys have been asking, and some of the things that you should be expecting basically in 5.0, realistically speaking. Right, so let's go through the basics. I was here since I think AION 1.2, and those were some freaking dark times for AION. Those were times in which if an assassin ambushed you in the abyss and he had his poison buff on and it procced on you, then you couldn't fly anymore. Times in which the Templar's abyss stigma, the only blue one, the shield blast, was a pure damage stigma on a 1.5-second cast. Didn't do anything, didn't stumble, didn't knock down anything. So, those were the beginning times of AION. And why I'm telling you these things is because you have to know that AION started out as a very hard to reach the end game MMO and very hard to be all plus 15 and shit like that. So having that in mind, you have to think that Aeon right now is going back to its roots. Now, I know it's hard for many of you to understand that have been playing the game for a very long time. I myself have been playing it for over 6 years, so I already got used to the fact that I can be from 0 to 65 in 2 days. I got used to all the perks, all the Ts, all the XPs, all the bonuses, all the events, all the Beshmudir solos, all the reset scrolls. But these were things that did not exist in the beginning of Aeon, and they did not exist for a very long time. I remember even 1.9, which was almost 2 years after Aeon was launched. Even those times, it was really hard for you to get a full 50 level 50 abyss set due to the medals and due to the abyss points. Now these days it doesn't matter because most of you guys are used to having tens of millions of abyss points. Everything, there's like 50 things that you can do to get abyss points. There's 20 things that you could do to get medals. But back in the days when Aeon started, and it's really important for you guys to, for you to have been playing this game for 6 years, it's really important to remember how it was in 1.2, 1.5, 1.9, even in 2.0. It started in 2.0 to be a little bit easier. They streamlined the game a lot, but before that, for almost 2 years, it was really hard. Just for you guys, for the new ones, to understand how Aeon used to work, when it was January of 2010, so that was like what, 3 months after Aeon was released, and I started playing, I think, in December 2009, and then in January, at the end of January, so that's 1 month, a whole 30 days, and I'm a pretty hardcore player. I was still level 36. So that's how hard it was. It was super hard. There was nobody to help you. There was no power leveling, nothing. It was just grind. So Aeon is going back now to the roots, which is, in my opinion, as a player that has been here for 6 years, it's amazing. And you should be really happy about this as well, because it's it's not no longer about just grinding that gear and doing Sauro for a million times without any drops, doing Runadium and only getting shitty eternal weapon chests, doing this and only getting that and this and that. So Aeon is becoming nicer in that sense. It's becoming as it used to be, and it used to be a really amazing game, and that had a really amazing community, a community of players that understood grinding and that were not really necessarily rushing to the end game. So the fact that we need to gather so much experience, that's my point, is nothing that should scare you at all, because back in 1.5, you used to grind for 2 months in order to reach, I don't know, from 20 to 50. And that's just 30 levels. I'm not talking 20 to 65 or I don't know, any other gap. I'm just talking 30 levels. They were really hard levels, and the experience was not very easily achievable. And that was the truth. You just needed to grind elites. And it was an awesome time for very many reasons, which would make this video an hour long. So I'm not going to tell you all of them, but one very important reason why grinding is good and why making people enjoy the leveling experience is a really amazing thing for everyone, is the broker. I mean, for fuck's sake, these days there is nothing farmed on the broker. Everything that you see on the broker are crafted pots and godstones that drop by chance, or people buy them with abyss points and they sell them or get them from events, or I don't know, fucking Hyperion boxes and shit like that. So because there is no more grind in Aeon, the economy has suffered a lot, and that's gonna change tremendously in 5.0, because whether you like it or not, you will have to kill mobs and you will have to continue killing mobs until you're 75. Yeah, so that means you're gonna get drops means there are gonna be more things on the broker. More things means cheaper things. There's gonna be a lot of more purple drops, since we're talking about drops. So now all let's go through from the XP that you need and the grind and those huge numbers that I talked about, which are no problem. It's okay to take 3 months to be 75. It's really fine. It's just brings back old memories, nice ones. So I'm really happy for that. You should be too. Going to the drops. Some of you guys were afraid that, oh my god, gear is gonna break. Only the new gear is gonna break. If you want, you can still wear your Makarna set. If you want, you can still wear your rank 1 mythical PvP set. And, not necessarily get the new set, but just try to enchant that one to plus 20, or stuff like that. So you don't necessarily need the new gear in order to be still viable in terms of PvP and PvE. You can easily go through 5.0 or whatever we're getting in Europe, 5.0.5, with the current gear that you have. There's no need to have that high Deva gear. Now, I haven't done exactly the math on how good the new mana stones will be, because the new mana stones are the only thing that will decide if the new high Deva gear is better than the current Makarna, Rentus, or rank 1 mythical PvP gear, whatever. So that's my only concern, just the new mana stones. Also, hand in hand with gear breaking in Aeon 5.0 and beyond, there's going to be increase in drop rates. And it's not going to be one of those shitty event, yeah, let's go to dungeons because there's 10% more drop rates, but 10% out of 0.00001% is nothing, so it's just a lie. It's not going to be like that. There's going to be a lot more drops from mobs that you need to kill in order to get to 75. So, purple drops like armor, weapons, wings, etc. So you're going to have full of those on the broker. And if people are grinding because they are forced to, which is a positive thing, then that means there's going to be more purple drops on the broker. Eventually, they're going to get really cheap. And you can just buy them, disenchant them for dust, and then, just combine it into enchantment stones. Enchantment stones, which, yes, you will fail at plus 7 and the item is going to get destroyed. But there's going to be different prices for enchantment stones. It's not going to be like 90 million for an all powerful just for you to fail. There's going to be new enchantment stones that, yes, they will fail, but hey, there's a ton of them at the broker because there's a ton of purple gear in the game that can be disenchanted. So it's just these things that go hand in hand. And I really believe that this particular update for Aeon is something that, for me personally and for the majority of you guys, is going to be just fantastic, because you're going to enjoy the game more instead of just, farming your shit and just getting that shit and then failing non-stop, or not even getting that shit. I've been doing Makarna. Let me just give you an example. Been doing Makarna. I was server first to finish Makarna. That happened in the beginning of November last year, right? So I've been doing it since then, and I am at 4 out of 6 pieces on my Templar. And I've been using reset scrolls for months just to do 4 runs a week instead. So what's the difference? Why do I need to fucking do Makarna like an idiot just to hope for a set, when I can just, spend my time like this guy Nick said in his post, just enjoying the game and getting those creation points, like they're called in Europe. So it's going to be a bit different. Another topic that I really want to touch upon really fast is the imbalance that this will cause in PvP. I know some of you are worried about the fact that the 75 people with full creation points, with the boosting stats that 75 gives you, and the transformation skills, are gonna be just owning level 66s. Yeah, that's absolutely correct. So, in order for some of you to even start from that premise, you need to have a fair and super balanced game. Now, Aeon, as you guys know, as we all know, is not the fairest and the most balanced MMORPG out there in terms of PvP. So saying that some 75 is gonna destroy you because he has transformation and you don't and you're 66, yeah, that's right. So what? You don't get destroyed now, or what can you do now? Run faster to your guards, or Zerg with a 12 man, or what's exactly gonna change? So imbalance in PvP in a game that's already imbalanced, I I don't see how that's a viable argument to even think about. In any case, so that's out of the way. Another topic that I really want to touch upon is twinking. Basically, AION was designed to be a really hard game to level in. The only reason why twinking even existed in AION 1 point something till 2.0, because people were twinking 30 like maniacs, is the fact that it was too hard and too annoying to get to 50 and still have super viable level 50 gear, and be super cool in PvP. Now, in between Aeon 1.0 and Aeon 1.7, I think only 2 or 3 people had an Elite 50 set. It was immensely hard to get, and that's because that's how Aeon was designed. Now, in 5.0, Aeon is going back to those roots. So I assume that we're going to be seeing some twinking at 65 later on when the game is going to settle in and when the patch is going to settle in, basically, which is a really good thing because people twinking at 30 was a really awesome, nice thing in Aeon history. Now, NCSoft did take that out later on. I think it was a few years ago before they sold the game to Gameforge. They had an in-game survey, and the majority of people, turns out, they voted to take rifting off, increase the disadvantages of the curse that you used to get when you're PvPing, etc. So anyway, they destroyed that because that was never meant to be a feature of the game. Twinking at 30, twinking at 40 was never ever meant in the, grand scheme of Aeon. People only did it because it was too hard to level. Now, in 5.0, it's going to be again too hard to level. And some people may not want to level all their 6 chars to end game because that's going to take them, I don't know, maybe 2 years. So that means in turn that we might even see some nice twinking at 65, which is going to be even better. Why not? 65 is a really nice level. Other than that, guys, and oh man, I'm so happy. I need to say it again. I'm so happy that this letter came out because this confirms everything I said. I think we covered everything that we needed to cover. We talked about the large XP numbers that you need to reach 75, which I explained to you guys already. Not a problem. It's super awesome. It's not going to be hard at all. It's just going to take time. Time in which you're going to get creativity points, or creation points as I think they're going to call them in Europe. And yeah, you're just going to discover the new zones. You're going to have fun. You're going to PvP. You're going to do everything, and nothing is going to be harmful in any way to the game, to the community at all. If you have been here in 1 point something until 2.0, I really urge you to think about that. Try to remember how it was, and do not go into 5.0 with the expectation that you are gonna be the one that gets to 75 in 3 weeks. That's never ever gonna happen. It's gonna take you months, and yeah, that's just how it is. And it's really cool that Aeon is taking that route now. We talked about imbalance in PvP. Obviously, you cannot talk about imbalance because of transformation skills in a game that PvP is already imbalanced because of PvP gear that can be enchanted to XXX if you have money, or Godstones, or any other little class imbalances that currently exist in Aeon. So no big deal that someone's going to be 75 and you're going to be 67. You're going to get wrecked anyway. If he's not alone killing you, he's going to probably be with 12 others killing you. So what's the big deal? You're going to get to 75 anyway eventually. We talked about gear breaking. That's also one important thing. There's gonna be a shit ton more drops, mythical ones that can be disenchanted to make dust, to create enchantment stones later on. So there's gonna be more enchantment stones, and the gear is gonna break, but only the high Deva gear, which you don't necessarily really need unless you really have a lot of money. But other than that, and it also depends on the mana stones, as I said, the new mana stones. But other than that, I don't see the reason why you really need that PvE ancient coin gear, because everything that's going to be in 5.0 can be done with current sets, Rentus, Makarna, etc. So, and PvP as well. Rank 1 mythical PvP, best set in game. So why bother with high deva things for now, for the beginning, until the market settles? We also talked about twinking and the fact that AION was never intended as a twink game, but since it was too hard, as it's gonna be now, we may see some twinking, which is gonna be fun. In the meantime, guys, I wish you will be happy about 5.0, because you should be happy. No need to worry. You should only look forward to this. You should look forward to your journey, and don't necessarily plan a 2 weeks vacation thinking that you're gonna, you know, get that 75 and be ahead, because that's never gonna happen. So stay chill, get some Red Bull, get some pizzas. 10th of August, 9th of August is the day. So I think 10th of August, yeah, that's the day. And I wish you guys lots of love till my next video.